Everything about him, you hated him. You hated him that he was so well acted, so well written, and so well done. You completely hated that man. There's
Yeah.
nothing about him that you liked as a character.
What's up, guys? It's CJ. I'm here with that nerd Mikey, and like always, Richie. It was good to say that, man. Welcome to Royal Zealots. Before we get into these topics, like always, stop. Spoiler alerts. Before you talk about these shows and movies, go watch them. And then come back and join us. When you come back and join us, make sure you like and subscribe because any and all support is greatly appreciated. And it helps us impact the community by honoring real life heroes, man. So for that being said, today I have Thanos for my cup, for my cheers. Mike got Thanos and Richie has Deadpool. Cheers, guys. Cheers. Let's go ahead and get these topics popping. It's been a minute. We took some time off, good time off, but that didn't mean we didn't take time off from posting. As you can see, our social media has actually been growing a lot. Get a lot of activity on our comments, and yeah, really appreciate you guys for giving us support and all the follows and likes. But yeah, now we're going to get back to the podcasting and honoring, real life heroes again. So much has happened since we've been off. There's been a lot of movies that dropped. There's shows that dropped. A lot of Marvel news. Also, a lot of strikes. The writers are on strike right now, which is kind of pushing things back for Marvel. So yeah, news just came out that Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3 is going to release digitally in July 7th. So I own 1 and 2. And so this is going to be purchased to complete the trilogy. Richard, man. You know what? No, Mike, man. Mike. Is this the best trilogy?
No, it's not. It's not the best trilogy.
Right away.
I mean, like,
but it is really good.
This trilogy was great, man.
The soundtrack is probably the best soundtrack in any trilogy ever.
Definitely.
Hands down, right? Now when I hear No Sleep Till Brooklyn, all I can think about is that amazing hallway scene. Yeah. Like that hallway scene is up there with Daredevil hallway scene when you first saw it. Like that hallway scene was it.
It was dope, bro.
The movie from start to finish was great.
Yes.
The first one is still the best one, in my opinion.
Mm-hmm.
The second one was good. This third one is better than the second one.
Yep.
It's really emotional. And it also gave us one of the best Marvel villains to date.
You said one of the best. One of the best
Marvel villains to date.
Yeah.
He was amazing. Yes. It's funny because when they first showed him, I think it was Comic-Con, or was it their own thing that they did, and they brought him out as the High Evolutionary. I laughed. I giggled. I'm like, this is stupid. Right? But it's only because he was completely out of context for his mannerisms, the way he acted, the way he spoke and stuff like that. So I had no idea of the backstory that they're going to use, how he was in the movie. So when you saw him in the movie, it was completely different. I absolutely hated this man. There was nothing about him that you were like, oh, I get you. I feel you. I understand that. No.
Yeah.
Complete garbage.
Yeah.
Best ways. That's the type of villain that Marvel missed a lot of the times.
Oh, so you're saying he's kind of like Ezra Miller?
No. But the High Evolutionary in this movie is not dead.
You think he's still?
He's still alive.
Mm-hmm.
I saw the movie twice. He's still alive. I think at the very end, when Drax was at the very end coming out, he had him.
Yeah, you're right. He was carrying him out. Yeah.
He was carrying him out. So he's still alive, right?
Yeah, they confirmed that. Yep.
So that's great. That's another thing that I hate about Marvel is that they kill these great villains. Ronan, they killed. I'm like, oh, Thanos, they killed. Like Red Skull, pretty much dead. He's not going to come back. The original actor and stuff like that. Like, like all these villains that they just completely just X'd out. And I'm like, when I heard that he didn't die, I'm like, yes, thank you, because he was a great villain, great character, and I really hope he does more dirtbag things in the future.
Yeah, he's definitely the best villain for since Phase 4, since Endgame for sure. I can't think of any other villain that's maybe better than him. I can't think of.
He Who Remains was great.
Not better than him, though.
No,
so
but
far.
not better.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, exactly. He Who Remains and the variants of Kang, they haven't been as great as Evolutionary. And thinking about other villains. Go ahead.
I really like the No Way Home Green Goblin.
Oh, bro, he's the one. He's the number one. Sorry, my fault. My fault.
He's different, right? The Green Goblin was great for many reasons, right? Absolutely well done, perfect. Willem Dafoe, great. The High Evolutionary, though, he made people cry, and people hated him.
Yeah, bro.
Green Goblin was great.
That's true. With the pets and the Okay, I can see that.
With Green Goblin, he was a menace, an absolute psychopath. But
literally.
But the High Evolutionary ripped your heart out.
Yeah, bro.
And laughed at you. Like, this is a whole new level of villainy. When he shot both Floor and everybody else, and the Rocket was just crying, and then he still mimic him crying, bro.
Yeah.
We got to throw hands. This is it.
Bro.
Somebody you hated to their core. Now, Green Goblin, you didn't hate him. You adored him for the role that he did.
At first, you looked so helpless.
Yeah, but you loved him for that role.
Yeah, that's true.
You hated. You absolutely hated.
Like the way, like that kid from Game of Thrones who plays the king, right?
Joffrey?
Joffrey. Oh my God.
No.
I think that dude still gets death threats, I think. He's in for 10 years. It's crazy.
No, but really, the Green Goblin was great. Great. He was well acted, well done, well written. He was great, right? But you loved him for a different reason.
Yeah. No, that's
High Evolutionary was on another level of villainy, right? You hated him. Everything about him, you hated him. You hated him that he was so well acted, so well written, and so well done. You completely hated that man.
Yeah.
There's nothing about him that you liked as a character. The only thing you liked about him is that he was so good at being a villain.
Yeah.
For Green Goblin, you loved him because William Dafoe being William Dafoe.
I was going to say, I think that's the difference between the Green Goblin and High Evolutionary, because Green Goblin, Willem Dafoe did a great performance. He was great. The way he smiled and looked really devilish, and the way he laughed at Spider-Man for punching him. Great scenes, great acting, great performance. And when he first came onto the scene, he looked all innocent and saying, "I'm lost. I don't know where I'm at. Blah blah blah. I'm scared."
That switch, right?
Mm-hmm. That switch was amazing. That scene with him with Spider-Man. That scene was so great. But the performance is great. But with High Evolutionary, it was his actions that was this guy is the devil, bro. This dude is crazy. So that's the difference. Is High Evolutionary's actions made you really hate him. The performance that Willem Dafoe did from Green Goblin made you love that. So
same thing with me and Doc Ock.
I don't know.
Alfred Molina. I love Spider-Man 2 is my favorite Spider-Man movie. Alfred Molina, Doc Ock. Again, well acted, well written, great. High Evolutionary, who was in Peacemaker.
The actor, yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Another James Gunn, person that he used.
Yeah.
Was absolutely dynamite. If he doesn't get some kind of award for this, I lose all hope. Right? But because nobody came out of that movie theater saying anything good about the High Evolutionary. But what's made him so great, right? That's exactly what made him so great as a villain, is because he wasn't somebody that they tried for you to feel for. Kind of like the whole stick that the Sony Spider-Verse is doing with all their villains, the Vulture, Morbius, and the tagline for Kraven: "Villains aren't born, they're made." That's the tagline, right? That he's a good man, and then something happens that turns him into a villain, right? High Evolutionary is just an evil person. It takes you all the way back to the famous line by Alfred in The Dark Knight, right? Some people just want to watch the world
burn.
And that's exactly the type of character that he gave us. Just like the Joker. Completely ridiculous.
Yeah, bro.
So
it
he
was
did
crazy.
a great job. And yes, I know I'm praising this movie so much, and I still said it's not the greatest trilogy, but it's a good movie, okay? Good movie. I still think that Guardians of the Galaxy is such a great trilogy because they got to be kind of like their own thing. Because they were the first cosmic, right? All the other trilogies, in all the main trilogies, Iron Man, Captain America, Thor, they all had the burden, and we talked about this, the burden of pushing the story forward, the phases forward by adding so much more than just about the character. They had to add in about Thanos, they had to add in about Infinity Stones, they had to add in about all this stuff. They had so much burden to continue the whole train moving forward. Guardians of the Galaxy, the first movie, was only about the Infinity Stones and this core group. Nothing else. The second one, same thing. The third one, same thing. And the whole thing about Rocket being the main character of everything was a great little thing that James Gunn done to make you really go back and watch the movies and realize that he was the main character this whole time.
Yeah. That's
just
brilliant.
Him, like the second one where he said, I'm only able to lose one friend a day. Like those kind of scenes that they gave him, the one with him, the scene that he gave him with Yondu about how Yondu was like, I know exactly who you are because you're me.
Yeah.
That scene hits so much harder now after seeing this movie. It tells him like, and you can probably roll the clip. It's like, says like that the person that made you didn't care about you. The people around you have no, anybody that gives you just a little bit of love makes you run away screaming, right?
Yeah.
I know this because you're me, right?
Yeah.
That scene hits so much harder now, knowing that he was the main he's the main character in this trilogy.
Yeah.
So many parts of the trilogy, if you go back and watch, you realize that it wasn't Peter Quill. It was always Rocket.
Always Rocket, man. Yeah, bro. This is James Gunn being brilliant. And I don't know, I feel like with Rocket's story and how they really just dive into it in Volume 3, Richard, man, do you think Volume 3 is probably the most emotional MCU movie that we've got so far? Because it made people cry, bro.
There's a good argument for it. I don't know if I can say it's emotional for me, but it's definitely it definitely can be a tearjerker.
Yeah.
And I think the only reason why for me it's not easy for me to say that it was is because you didn't get that shocking death of a main character, you know. And I'm pretty sure you guys could think of some other ones because I can't right now.
I'm thinking about. I think the only other emotional one would be maybe Infinity War because everybody was snapped away. But
Infinity War,
cool story, or not really cool, so a funny story. You talking about emotional. When that scene happened, I knew it was coming because I'm a comic book reader. Everybody that I went with knew that the snap was coming and people were going to be dusted or whatnot. I was sitting there watching it, like so intent in watching this, how they're going to do the snap and blah, 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 blah. When it happened, there was this kid in front of me, probably 12 years old. He got up out of his seat when, it was a time when the snap happened, and then Okoye went over to the Black Panther, and then he kind of dusted, right? He gets up out of his seat, immediately starts bawling, and he runs out of the movie theater.
Dang.
Right? And then I'm like, all right. And we finished the movie, right? And I don't see the kid come back to the seat because, things happen, continue happening, the end credit scene. So you still see more. So the kid's been gone this whole time, right?
Yeah.
And then when we're all leaving, he is, how the movie theater goes in the stadium seating, and he kind of like rows where you can kind of see through. He was standing there on the phone with his mom, crying, screaming to his mom about what he just saw.
Wow.
Everybody's dead, blah, 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 blah. Just he's bawling his eyes out.
Man.
On the phone. Like, if that's not cinema where it takes somebody, completely emotionally traumatizes them.
Emotionally invested.
That he was so, like you said, emotionally invested in all these characters and they're all seemingly dead. That he got up out of his seat, bawled, ran, and just stood there at the side watching through the little bars the rest of the movie.
That's why Infinity War was so great. Like when people go back and talk about it, they're like, it's a top movie. And they're like, the main reason is because it took 10 plus years to get to that movie. And it's like, if it's a movie by itself, it's good. But if you add the context to it, it makes it like a movie that's once in a lifetime thing that you're going to get, bro. Like I said, there's no other movies or, these franchises that have done something like MCU did, where they took 10 plus years, put all these characters together and connect them together to lead up to a big event. A decade later, where you're going to be like so emotionally invested that you have to be there to see the conclusion to this one story that took 10 years to tell. Right? So it's like, I don't know if we're ever going to get that again. I said that before, like many podcasts ago, was like, I don't think we're ever going to see that duplicated. They're going to try to do that with the Phase 4, the Phase 6, with the Kang Dynasty. It's not starting off strong, but I don't think we're ever in our lifetime going to see something like this. It has to be a totally different franchise to try to attempt to do that, but we're never going to see that ever duplicated again. So I don't know. You can say either Infinity War or Volume 3 is one of the most emotional movies that we've seen so far. What you got, Richard?
I was just thinking about this as Mike was talking. I think I'm going to go with Endgame. Just because of Tony Stark, his death.
Yep.
Of what he meant throughout that whole phase, that whole Infinity phase. Yeah. That shook me up. So
yeah. The emotions was there, but like you said, you can't duplicate that, man. It takes time to get there.
It's one of those things that, because it's the first of its kind, it's going to be really hard to beat it. It's like that first time the 72 Dolphins are the first undefeated team to go from absolutely no losses, including to the Super Bowl. Everybody always brings up the 72 Dolphins when they say the greatest team of all time. or everybody brings up the 96 Bulls, like everybody brings up the Bulls, everybody brings up the Lakers from 2001, 2020 to 2000 to 2001, where they pretty much swept everybody in the playoffs.
Yeah.
Everybody brings up these things, and it really is because it's not the same anymore, because you already seen it. You see what the peak is.
Yeah.
To start again from the bottom, like you keep looking back up at it, and you're like,
yeah,
we're not gonna make it.
You can't top that. It's already there. Yeah.
It's just one of those things that everybody's always gonna bring it up.
Yeah.
Everybody's always gonna bring up, like they're gonna bring up Avatar. We talked about that too. Avatar changed the game.
Even Avatar 2. I mean, it was great, good movie, but it's just not the same feeling as the very first time you sat down and watched this story being told with this new technology.
Yeah, and that's the thing. The story wasn't even that great. It was just Fern Gully on steroids. But the new technology, 3D, it literally launched 3D into a different form of the way it used to be used. It used to be used only for corny things where like, woo, but he said, no, I'm not going to do that. Everything's going to be 3D. So you're going to feel like you're immersed into this world. And I had a 3D, my parents bought a 3D TV, and we bought the movie so we can watch it in 3D because it was like, nothing's going to do that again. Yeah.
So I don't know, man. Like I said, Volume 3, it got there to where your emotions was there, but you can say Infinity War Endgame is still top notch with the emotions and the feels. It's just I don't know if you can beat that, man. He might try to do it. James Gunn might try to do it with the new DCU. He might try to get where we get the best DC movies connected and built up to something that you're like, I'm emotionally invested in everything that you've done.
That's fine, but I really doubt it's going to reach that level because people, superhero fatigue, people have been talking about it for so long because Marvel's been doing this for 13, 14 years, almost 15 years. And DC's been trying to do their catch up, that sort of thing, and TV shows and this and that. So if DC does it, it's going to be constantly compared to
Marvel
or Endgame.
Yeah.
Will it be able to be as good or better?
We'll see.
I don't know. Because like you said, no one's ever done that ever. They had the trilogies, even your Christopher Nolan Batman was only 3 movies.
Yeah.
Right? 3 movies. We're talking about 23 movies in the making.
Yeah.
That gets
and you're not focused on one character. With the trilogy is one character you're focused on. These are multiple characters that you're all emotionally invested in.
Emotionally invested, and then they just take them all away from you.
Yeah, it was pretty legit, bro.
You can say that you were here at the peak of comic book media. The only thing better than the first 3 phases is the original Blade.
Yeah, the original Blade was great. It was great, bro. Oh man,
that intro, best intro of any Marvel movie.
Even then, it's like all those old, the Spider-Mans, Blades. I don't know. All those movies is like they were great, but they were one movie, not connected to each other. So yeah, Marvel started something that was totally different, and they were successul. But can they do it again?
Try to catch lightning in the bottle twice. It's hard.
It's hard, man. It's really tough. All right, that's going to conclude this episode of Superhero Sundays. Tune in next week to get to some more crazy, fun topics. God bless you guys.